Hey everybody, how are you doing this morning? It's Dr. Cindy Stark here, coming in live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, giving you tools and transformational skills on how to regulate this amazing, wonderful powerhouse of matter between our ears. It was the first organ that God made when our mother's egg met our father's sperm, the neural tube. And I think it's always just best that we learn how to take control of it and get it to do what we want it to do instead of it running amok and doing what it wants to do, because it's always here for us to save us and to protect us, but sometimes it does it in really crazy ways if we don't understand. So please write hashtag live if you're here. Let me know where you're coming in from. I think I'm going to actually get to see the comments today. I can already see that 2 people are on, so that makes me very happy. I got everything set up this morning so that I have my phone here in addition to my laptop here, so I can engage with you guys in case the laptop is not working. But just hit hashtag live. So again, today, guys, we're going to get into anxiety and other emotions, what it is and how it shows up in your life and what it's there for and what you need to do to heal it in case it's running your life in ways that you don't want it to run your life. Hey, Sabrina, how are you doing, girlfriend? I'll see you tomorrow. Um, so again, my name is Dr. Cindy Stark. I take care of patients here at the Northeast Georgia Medical System here in Gainesville, Georgia. By day, I'm a hospitalist. I take care of patients that have been operated on. But then at night, I run Soul Circle Academy, and it's an online 12-week transformational health program where I help people harness the power of their subconscious mind, especially people that have been through trauma and their brains are just doing things to them over and over again, where it's like they're living in Groundhog Day, having things that they don't necessarily want in their life, where they're, hey Allie, where they're wreaking havoc, whether it's in their own personal health or in relationships or in the way that you parent your children or the way that you are at your job, and you just don't know how to get control of it. That's what we do inside Soul Circle Academy, and I'll drop the link later on in this talk. So in case you think that it sounds like something that could help you in your journey, it would just be my pleasure and my honor to help assist you in getting where you're trying to go in life. Hey, Oz, Pat, and Michelle, everybody's in the house. So good to see you guys. I have some analogies I'm using this morning. Please give me feedback as I'm going. I always pray to God to give me some tool or some story to tell you guys that will really be relatable. And anyway, today he gave me a hairbrush and a hammer, so we're going to get into that and we'll see if that hey, Miss Abby and Farah, just DM me after this is over, girlfriend. I'll tell you all about it. Anyway, so at night I run Soul Circle Academy, and all of us have been through some trauma before in our life, and we think that trauma is what happened to us in our lives, the event. Like for me, it was sexual mistreatment when I was age 14 in my own house where I should have been protected. But it's not the trauma that actually happened at that time. It's what we tell ourselves about ourselves that will wreak havoc on our lives for decades afterwards. And for me, it was I was running this constant loop of I'm unworthy of protection, and it really ruined my ability to have healthy, sustainable relationships until I got healing in 2020. And hopefully, if I have time, I'll go into that. But all of my trainings here that I'm giving to you guys Tuesdays at 10, they all build on each other. So if there's anything that I'm saying that y'all don't recognize, you can always get all of them. They're all archived in my private Facebook group that's free. It's called Reclaim Your Life and Health, and I've tagged that up above in the actual description of this talk. So just go to that, and all these talks are cataloged there, and they all build on each other. I've been doing them every Tuesday at 10 since I believe September 20 something of last year. So one of the things about our emotions that I want everyone to know is that they're not just diagnoses to be held on to like a holy grail. Like people say, I have anxiety, I have PTSD, I have depression. And then when you think of it as the only thing the emotions are there for is to give you a diagnosis, that then you have to go to a doctor to be treated with some medication. That's not at all what these emotions are there for, okay? They're here for you to either teach you something about yourself, to get you to do something, to feel something, to believe something else. And what the problem is especially with things like anxiety and depression. They are, hey mom, Virginia Buckner's in the house. She said she might not be able to come, but she did. So what are, if you think that your emotions are there just to be suppressed because they're causing problems in your life, then and y'all please drop a thumbs up or something if this has happened to you before, because my goodness, I know it's happened to me before. Ugh, just I shudder to think about it. But if you're anxious and you go to a doctor because you're something is going on in your life saying, please pay attention to me, please pay attention to me, and all you're doing is this awful behavior, or you're having this somatic, you know, problem like heart racing or dry mouth or irritable bowel syndrome, then the doctors will just do anything they can to kind of dampen down that full piece of the anxiety. So what anxiety is just a collection of fear, all the different times in your life that you've been fearful. And if you are living at the top of that emotion, the top of the emotion of fear is anxiety, and all the doctors are trying to do is get you to stop feeling that anxiety, then it's almost like there's a fire alarm going off in your house, guys. And the medicine or the prescription is just taking the batteries out of that fire alarm. The fire is still going on and it is ruining your house, okay? So taking the batteries out of that fire alarm is not doing anything to get rid of the fire that is destroying your house. So that is exactly the tools that I teach in my online coaching program, is how to not get rid of the batteries in the fire alarm, but how to put out the fire so that the fire is not damaging your house anymore, okay? So really all that emotions are they're stored in this part of your subconscious mind called the reticular activating system. I have my little rudimentary picture here for Michelle. These are bags, all right? The ones, the top four emotions that are housed in our, thank you, Farah. I think that's a great analogy too. The top emotions are fear, sadness, guilt, and anger. And when we have been through so much fear in our life over and over again, thank you, Jenny, that we are in anxiety, all that is your dad made you fearful when you were 2 years old because you got in trouble because you got into the shaving cream. I don't know. I'm just coming up with something. And then when you're in elementary school, you got in trouble at school by a teacher because you're a conduct problem. Hello, that's me. I always got sent in the hall because I couldn't stop talking. Oh, it pissed me off so much. And then I just wanted to talk. I had a lot to say. I don't understand why that is getting punished. And then let's say you were in undergrad and you didn't study for a test and so you got fearful. Anyway, over and over and over and over again, the fear gets stacked up until you are just completely full on anxious as hell. And if you don't know how to regulate this gestalt of fear in your subconscious mind, then you're living at the top emotion here, anxiety. So the top emotion of sadness, you feel sad over and over again, it's going to spill out into depression. That doesn't surprise me, Jenny. And then you keep feeling guilty over and over again, it's going to spill out into shame. And then anger, you get angry over and over again, that'll spill out into rage. So what happens is, if we don't know how to regulate our emotions and they spill out into the top emotion, well, that'll either cause you to go back and act like you used to act at the very first time when that gestalt started filling up. So like road rage is one I love to use as an example. Hey Pat, you're just in traffic, sitting in a safe car, having nothing dangerous happen to you whatsoever, and because someone cuts you off in traffic, you go and pull a gun out on them or start yelling and cussing to the top of your lungs. That's because you're reverting back to that behavior the very first time that anger filled up. Okay, so the classic example is road rage. If you don't believe this is happening, I'm just trying to give a real life example that this does happen. Jenny said, my first fear was when I swallowed a beet and I thought I was going to die, and I didn't tell my mom because I was scared and I was going to get in trouble. Yes, my brother used to tell me if I swallowed a watermelon seed, because, we would eat watermelon June, July, and August growing up in Georgia. He said, if you swallow a seed, Cindy, you are going to grow a watermelon patch in your stomach. And I got so afraid way back then in the day that I literally, a watermelon stalk was going to grow right out of my mouth and I was going to suffocate or something. Anyway, so what happens is, if you don't regulate those, then they end up regulating you. All right, these top emotions regulate you, and you either start acting like you acted the very first time that that gestalt started getting filled up, or you get sick. I'm going to give you one more example here because this is just really happening in my life a lot right now. And I just know that if it's happening in my life, that means it's happening in your lives too, because we're all a collective body of souls and energy here. But my sweet daughter, and I wasn't gonna call her out by name, but I just decided just now I am gonna say it. It was my daughter. I was just going to say someone who shall remain nameless in my family. But we have a little cat. He's 12 months and 12 years and 9 months old. Very very old cat, and he's just been acting funny lately. Ever since she moved out off to college. She's a sophomore in college, but this COVID year was her freshman year, so she was essentially at home taking. We were spending all the money on tuition, but she was taking college from her bedroom at home. So screwed up. But anyway, so she finally went away to college a few months ago, and her cat started acting weird. We thought it was, the cat was just, sad that his mommy was leaving because she is his main caregiver. But anyway, we finally decided he would not stop overeating and over drinking and over peeing and just acting completely different than he used to. So I took him to the doctor. Well, my little 19-year-old daughter, had it in her mind that her cat, because he used to be an outdoor cat, when I confined him and put him in a cat carrier, that he was going to somehow escape the cat carrier, run across the highway, the street, and get ran over. So she had that in her mind, that getting her cat fixed and diagnosed as to what's going to go on, and I'll find out later on today what's going on with him, that cat was going to get out of the cat carrier and die. And so she got sick as crap yesterday. She started having stomach aches. She literally had low grade fever. She started having body aches. And it was just because her whole body was in fight or flight, right? There's four things our bodies do when we are in that much fear. Either you fight, you flight, you freeze, or you faint. And she had, I guess I would say what she did was that she fainted because she was like in her bed. She could not move for a whole 12 hours. She skipped all of her classes, everything. As soon as I got that cat back in the house, okay, and I made sure to give her videos while he was in the doctor's office, safe and sound, not running away and getting ran over on the highway. Her symptoms started resolving, and she calls me this morning and said, "I feel completely better now, Mom. My body's not hurting or anything." So it's just a clear cut example of what we can do when our emotions run amok. But now, if you let your emotions run haywire like that, then you have lost all control of what happens in your life. Okay, and I want you to realize and to really take home after this talk today is that you have the ability to regulate those emotions. And unless you learn to resource yourself, versions of you that were so angry or so fearful, then those bags, those gesalts are going to fill up, and you're going to revert back to a 2-year-old. Who wants to be running around at 52 years old acting like a 2-year-old or an 8-year-old? I don't. And so I want you to drop the shame and the guilt if this has happened to you before. And just know that there's a way out. And the great news is that you just because it's been like that for all of your life up until now, it doesn't have to be like that for the rest of your life. So, what does healing look like? It looks like lowering your anxiety and regulating your fear. Those things are in your control. It's not reliant upon a doctor giving you some diagnosis. That again, the anxiety is a warning sign telling you there's a problem somewhere. You can drop those labels, okay? You can drop the labels that I just feel like some people just hold on to diagnoses, like I said before, like a holy grail. And if you're going to your doctor with all these gestalts completely filled up, the only thing he or she is going to know how to do is to give you something to take it down. And that's not doing anything to get rid of the initial problem. So drop a comment here, guys. I love for this to be interactive. Let's just take anxiety, all right? And that's fear, right? Fear overflowed is anxiety. So drop a comment. How does anxiety show up for you? I know for me, it used to cause absolute paralysis. Like I used to be so fearful that people would judge me on these talks right here that I would become paralyzed and never talk. And so, what good does that do? When I got my healing from all of these overflowed emotions in 2020, I told God, and I got such amazing, miraculous healing. And up to that point, when my first 50 years of my life, I'd spent so much money, and I read so many books and gone to so many Bible studies and secular counselors and Christian counselors. And yes, that's right, Farah. People have been programmed. That's exactly what it is. And I'll get into that in just a second too. But once I finally got my healing and I was able to see things for what it was and finally learn how to find my voice and just speak up for myself and tell everyone around me when my gestalts were getting full, then I got certified in these tools, and I made a promise with God, if He will just bring people to me, I will heal them one by one by one by one. So it'll be my pleasure and my honor. If you are feeling like this, like you're not in control of your emotions, or if you are dependent on some bottle of pills, just DM me after this is over and let's talk. Farah saying, she's been wanting to do the desires of her heart and talking herself out of it with fear and anxiety. Exactly. Hey, Allison. Yes, and Jenny's been having some big events happening in her life right now. She's been stressed out more than usual the past few days. Nausea. Yes, exactly. Um, and Jenny is one of my clients, and she knows now how to calm herself down so that she can make rational decisions instead of like staying at this vibration of you attract what you are, and so instead of staying in this vibration and this emotional fortitude of being a victim where she was attracting other victims into her life. Now she has taken the power back in her life, and and believing that she has the power to have whatever it is that she wants in her life, and she's taking steps to make that happen. Allison saying, I believe the first and hardest step is to identify the emotions and how it's taken over. Yeah, identify them and then get the tools on how to lower those gestalts so you're not living all the way up here all the time. So again, I just want to challenge you guys to look for the fire. Don't pull out the batteries, okay? I have the tools to do that. I have clients. I was going to start interviewing them today, actually, one by one, just to tell where they were before they started the program and where they are now. I'm excited too, Farah. I love you, girl. And but my one client, Jenny, who was going to be interviewed today, she started getting really nauseous and sick, and I believe, that it's just a bunch of stuff going on in her life, and so she just needs to take care of herself. And she said no, and she's listening to her body to take care of herself, and so we'll do it next week or another week. So again, what the reticular activating system is, I just want to tell you guys what we think is happening and what actually is happening. So what we think happens is that things happen to us in our lives. They come at us. They go straight through our eyes, pass our conscious brain, and get stored into our subconscious mind as a perfect memory of an exact replica of what happens. That's right, Oz. And Abby is saying it's almost like I have anxiety. It gives a person permission to be in that state all the time. Yeah, and make no effort to rectify the issue. Oh, that's so true. And she works in the medical system with me, so she sees it all day long, and it's just so exhausting, guys. The paralysis that people live in, it's just crazy. I just feel like so many of us are just living through this life, just I don't know. I don't want to say zombies, as that kind of sounds judgmental, but it's just almost like we've let our emotions take us out at our knees and we don't move. So anyway, back to what we think happens. All right, we think that the everything that's available to us in our lives comes at us, and it goes right through our eyes, right through our conscious mind, and gets stored into our subconscious mind as an exact replica of what's actually happening. So just say it was a star coming in, and it gets stored as a star coming out, an image of a star. Well, that's not what happened. That's not what happens at all. What happens is everything that comes to us, all the opportunities, all the lovers, all the jobs, all the wonderful family dynamics that we all want, all the love and cherish and honor and support that comes to us, it doesn't get stored. We aren't even able to see exactly what it is, because our subconscious mind does a great job of deleting and generalizing and distorting everything that we come into in our lives, that we come into contact with, because we're bombarded with 2 billion bits of information a second, and we can only handle something like 200 bits a second. So it literally has to filter out so much stuff so we can even stay alive, and not be overwhelmed with everything. So then what happens is, when we're trying to recall a memory or realize what it is that is coming to us as opportunities, what's that piece of the subconscious mind, that is the reticular activating system, is it is full of all these different programming, Farah, just like what you were saying. Hey, Melissa, we have religious programming, societal programming, parental programming, educational programming. And the only thing that we're able to see is what specifically matches our screwed up version of every bit of trauma that we've had from childhood on, okay? And the majority of our subconscious mind was built and all the beliefs by the time we were 7 years old. So we think we here I am at 52 years old, seeing all the different opportunities around me. Well, before you clean out the reticular activating system, which is that gunked up filter, the only thing I was ever able to see are the exact opportunities in my life and in my body that matched what was programmed in me since I was 7 years old. I hope that's making sense. And so what ends up happening is you think this is, and this was, here comes my analogy, all right? This is our subconscious mind. Our mind is supposed to be an amazing hammer. We're supposed to be able just to think how great you could build a house if you had an actual hammer and it was perfectly designed ergonomically with the steel and the wood and all that to perfectly hammer in nails into your house. But that's what the reality is, okay? But what it is when it's all messed up and skewed and all the filtering is mucked up and everything is that you have a brush and it looks like it works. It looks like, hey, I'm able to hammer. I've actually used this exact hairbrush to hammer in nails all around my house. But what happens if this is the only thing you have? This mucked up version, the screwed up filtering system of your reticular activating system, this is going to split. You're going to have to buy it over and over again. You're going to get extremely frustrated because this was never intended to build a house. But God made our subconscious mind like this. And all we have to do is just harness the power that's in this and see just how amazing of a life that we can build when we use this to hammer the nails instead of this to hammer the nails. That's what God gave to me in the shower this morning, and I hope that resonates with somebody, because I'm sure, especially us women, we have often used this to hammer in nails, and it was never, that right there is just, yeah, it does look like a hammer, it acts like a hammer, but it was never ever meant to be a hammer. Okay, so when you get rid of all the clogged up filtering, then every bit of your brain is now like this, and you're able to hammer with a vengeance. Okay, so I hope someone resonates with that, because I just really think that when you can have concrete examples like that, you can realize, I it is working. I mean, I am, I'm only getting in 5 fights a week, or, I only am making, half of what I should make in my life. And that was, using the faulty filtering in our systems. And then when you go through this program and you get rid of all that beautiful, wonderful, protective messing up of the filters, all right, it's just our subconscious minds trying to keep us alive. But when you get rid of all that and you have a blank slate and you realize, oh my gosh, look at this power that I have to my and to, right here at my fingertips for the taking, then life just becomes wonderful again. And that's what I want for everybody. I don't want anyone to think that they are, fighting for their diagnosis. I want you to fight for your healing, all right? And you have the power. You yourself has the power to heal. Just like my daughter getting rid of all of her abdominal pain and low-grade fever last night because she finally realizes her cat is safe. That's the exact same principle, but we take it really deep and we go into every bit of societal and familial programming. We just rip it out at the roots, and then we get a brand new clean slate again. All right, I'm getting behind on my comments here. So Jenny's saying America continues to judge each other, calling us lazy because most everyone is hiring. Go work hard, they say. Okay, so we will become self-sufficient and not continue to support corporate America. We are tired of being judged and abused as humans. Yeah, I have been a workhorse, I think, since I was age 7. Definitely since age 17, and I'm finally entering a season of rest, and I realize it's okay to rest, and it's okay to look at the birds outside and to just appreciate just time with your family and your friends. No one needs to continue to work like crazy hard all the time. And Michelle is saying she had some major pelvic pain yesterday due to having to deal with the fact that my mom is a lot of childhood trauma that she had, and so she knows now how to regulate her own reticular activating system. She reached out to one of the moderators on our team, and she got healing, but she's not abandoned anymore. She knows that through talking with Jenny, she was able to feel so much better, get her emotional gestalts regulated, and she's back with a vengeance. Yes, hammer with a vengeance. Yes, that's right, Farah. You are on the brink of it. You're just going to work on those emotions. And power is the ability to act. Yes. Thank you, Oz. And yeah, you have to fight for whatever you have to keep. Yeah, whatever you fight for, you get to keep. So you want to fight for your limitations? Keep fighting for your limitations. And guess what? You're going to get to keep those limitations for the rest of your life. You want to fight for the power, the infinite, amazing, wonderful, divine power. You know, we are God, we are divinity. So you want to fight for that? Ask yourself better questions. Come to me. I'll help design about 10 or 20 questions for you. But ask those questions and fight for your divinity. Don't fight for your limitations. It's just like, you know, the only other entity that knows how to work our brain besides us and God is the enemy, and he will make you sit there and question and doubt every single thing in your life. And you know, it's this exact same brain. It's just how it is, the perspective that you decide to look at it, right? For your limitations or your power. Uh, that's right. Thank you, Melissa. Yeah, one side pulls out nails. Yep, one side hammer and one side pulls out the nails. That's good. It's multifaceted, right? So, anyway, guys, I know everybody that comes to these lives, they're somewhere on the continuum. This is a true healing where you are ready to fight for yourself. You're ready to give yourself 12 weeks of your life and a little bit of time and a little bit of money and a lot of grit and determination, and you're ready to live exactly the life that you want to live. And sometimes people start way back here where they're still feeling like a victim, and there's no shame or judgment in that. You're either in the victim mode, you're just starting to get awareness in here. You've already gone through some of the tools, and you're still trying to read books and get healing by just talking to your friends. Yes. Or you can be right here and you say, what is it like to be God's favorite? That's all I ask myself all the time. How is life this great? How do I get the best clients? What is it like to be God's favorite? I'll tell you what it's like. I go out there in my bare feet. It's like 25 degrees here in Georgia this morning. It doesn't matter. I go out there in my bare feet. I put my bare feet on the ground and I put my hand to my heart and I try my best to connect between God and my heart and my brain and my feet. And I just run that cosmic energy and that earth energy. And I ask God, with the tools that he's given me through all my certification, I'm taking a huge exam in my certification a month from today, I believe. No, a month from this Friday. So I'm so excited to finally be board certified. But you guys, I am committed to bringing you all these tools that I have to me so that you can see exactly what it is that you're capable of being in this life. So if you're sick and tired of living back here on the continuum and you're ready to be here and see what it is like to be God's favorite, Oz. Exactly right. It's amazing and wonderful. And it's just like everything that's in the whole entire universe is ours to have. Not this little tiny sliver of what accidentally could somehow manage to filter through that gunked up filtering system. I often say it looks like you are in my in crowd, Jenny. It's almost like what comes to us is a star, and what we're able to see when our filtering is all messed up are squares. So aren't stars a lot more beautiful than squares? I mean, who wants to only see squares for the rest of our life? You want to be able to see stars. So when you get all that filtering system cleaned out, and it does take some work. I'm not going to say a lot of work. I say it might not be easy, but it's very simple. It was very simple and easy to me because I was so sick and tired of being so sick and tired. I was so sick and tired of spending all that money and I just feel like every single program I went through, every counselor I went to, every single Bible study I went to, it helped me for like a couple of weeks, and then the minute that I would get out of that system of being with that counselor or being on those medications or being in that study, then it goes right back through my reticular activating system, through my bullshit sensor, which is also known as your belief systems. It gets filtered right through there and tells you every single reason why everything that you just went through is wrong and it's not going to work for you. It never has worked for you and it never will work for you. So it's just exhausting. I went through 3 decades of that, and I never had to do that again. And it would just be my pleasure and honor to walk you through. I mentioned the other day, it's just like holding your hand as you walk through the fire of your truth. I would just love to do that. And then there's like 12 of us that have also already walked through the fire of their truth. And so we can Yeah, that's right. Everything just keeps getting better. Thank you guys for all the comments. Sorry I'm not able to read every one of them because I'm on a roll. But we can walk through the fire of truth together. So y'all DM me. I will also go ahead and drop a link to my calendar on how to book some time to talk with me and see if you're ready. And I would it would just be my pleasure and my honor to help you become the powerhouse that you are, because the world is meant to be lived by people that are game changers, and the season of the game changers is here. We are here to change the world, and it all starts with you. So guys, I'll talk to you guys. I'll come back and read any questions that you have. If you are watching the replay, hit hashtag replay. And other than that, I'll see you next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all take care and have a great day. Love you guys.